Hello and welcome back to Bookish Brits. My name is Michelle, and for today's video I would really like to talk to you about LGBT YA and the reason in which I've signed up for an LGBT reading challenge this year. Just this morning I looked on Goodreads. I was really curious to see how many books I'd read with an LGBT focus. I've marked 1,036 books as being read. Of those 1,000 plus books, I would only probably mark about 28 of them as having an LGBT focus, and that only works out to being 2.7% of my reading. I think having better access to LGBT books and characters and storylines is going to have a huge impact on young people today who are looking for a better reflection of their society within books. So just quickly, I'm going to leave a link down below to the reading challenge sign-up sheet that I've joined, and today I really wanted to talk to you about some of my favourite books involving LGBT storylines or characters. I'd like to run through a little bit about my reading pile for this year, and just hopefully that will give you some good recommendations. Alright, so one of my absolute favourite books with an LGBT character or storyline has to be Far From You by Tess Sharp. The main character is trying to solve the murder of her best friend. But for me, the thing that really grabs me about this book and these characters and the storyline is the fact that the main character is bisexual. She's in love with her best friend as well as her best friend's brother, and that's sort of introduced throughout the storyline. But it's A Kiss in the Dark, which is my favourite book involving LGBT characters and storylines, and I think that this book in particular shows a really wonderful relationship between two girls, and how it is just falling in love with people as opposed to falling in love with someone of a specific gender, and I think it was really cute and well done. I also really enjoyed Starring Kitty by Kara Staton. This is another really recent read. This book is kind of a middle grade young teen story. It was kind of a gentler story about coming to terms with your own sexuality, and I thought the two main characters were utterly sweet. There are really big name writers as well writing for young adults now, Melinda Lowe being one of them. I really enjoyed Huntress, Ash, Adaptation, Inheritance. All of her books contain LGBT characters and storylines, and I love that a lot of her books aren't coming out stories, but stories that just sort of include these characters. And of course there is David Levithan. This is the book that he wrote together with John Green, Will Grayson, and I really do enjoy David Levithan's stories. I thought Boy Meets Boy was incredibly sweet and had some fantastic characters, as did this book. I really enjoyed What's Up with Jodie Barton by Haley Long, which was published recently. One of my favorite characters in series has to be the Pantomime series by Laura Lamb. The first book is Pantomime, the second book is Shadowplay, and I really can't wait to see the third book. The series Masquerade, hopefully published soon, and this follows an intersex character called Micah Gray. Now I could go on and on with some of my other recommendations, but I have read 3 books so far this year that would count towards my LGBT reading challenge, and the first book was Lies We Tell Ourselves by Robin Talley. It was an historical YA novel that was published last year in the UK, and it was a really interesting story about a school in the 1950s in the South, and how 10 black students integrated a previously all-white school, and the whole story tells about the struggles and things that this school faced in integration, and the main character Sarah together with these struggles and things, is also struggling with her own attraction and feelings for another girl. It was really, really interesting, and I'm so glad that I read it. And I'm really, really looking forward also to seeing what else Robin Talley will bring us story-wise. Last night I finished Grasshopper Jungle by Andrew Smith. This was a book that was really widely talked about last year, and not always in a good way. I've heard when I mentioned on Twitter that I was reading this book, I had so many people tell me that they tried it and it just didn't work for them because it does involve a lot of really gross bugs which hatch out of people and start breeding and killing people, and it can be really gruesome at points. It's narrated by a 16-year-old boy who is incredibly horny. Like, everything makes this boy sexually turned on, and at the same time is giving us this history of these last days of the world. He's also kind of grappling with his own sexual identity. He has a girlfriend who he loves and who makes him horny, but also he has all of these confused feelings for his best friend Robbie. And the final book that I wanted to talk to you about today, which I've already read, is this book, and it's Lovehertz. It's an anthology focused on love, edited by Mallory Blackman, who is a goddess. I still think that this book is amazing because of these original short stories, definitely, but also because of the whole collection as a whole. You know, we've all heard that Mallory Blackman is really interested in promoting diversity, but it really isn't as apparent as it is in this book. The extracts that it's coming from, together with the short stories, provides this wonderful look at all different angles. There's both male and female gay relationships here. There's people with different abilities and chronic illness. There's at least one other different religion mentioned. There's a transgender character. There's love all around, between siblings, between humans and robots, between friends, strangers, online acquaintances, everywhere. And I really loved the level of acceptance and celebration of the diversity in this book. So those are the books that I recommend, and those are the books that I've been reading recently. There's loads and loads of books that I want to read this year that go along with the LGBT reading challenge, and I'm just going to quickly run through some of these with you. I do have other books on my Kindle, including The Miseducation of Cameron Post, Lies My Girlfriend Told Me by Julianne Peters, and some other books. I'd love to hear your own LGBT YA recommendations. Will you be joining in the LGBT reading challenge with me? Have you read any of these books? Do you have any ideas about where I should start? Let me know your thoughts on this, guys. I really want to hear it. Have an interest in LGBT YA written by UK authors. I will leave a link down below about a post that appeared on my blog recently. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.